Hey everybody, my name is Jen, the Caffeinated Crafter. Today is Friday, June the 7th, 2024. You'll probably see this on Saturday, June the 8th. Welcome to my Flosstube channel. This is Flosstube. I said it wrong last time too. I was like, oh no, 70. I think this is actually 75, maybe. It's in the 70s, I know that much. Anyway, if you're new to my channel, welcome. This is a channel where I talk about my cross stitch, and if you are returning to my channel, I'd like to welcome you back. Thanks so much for watching and following along. I have a lot to show. I worked on almost every single project that I had pulled last week. I did not get to 2 of them, and a couple of them I only had a few hundred stitches on because I got started late and I had to do my 100 stitches on the Whip of Shame. So my pulled pieces for the week didn't get as much work done, but I will go ahead and show you what I've done so far. I got a new light, as you can see, finally, so hopefully that'll help when I'm showing stuff. But anyway, yeah, so this is my board so far. So I did not get to Home Sweet Home, which I was fine with because I just started it last month, so I just worked on it in May. And then the other one I didn't work on was Reaching Skyward. I actually would have worked on it tonight had I filmed tomorrow, but I wanted to go ahead and film today and get it out of the way. But anyway, this is my board for the week. Some of the stuff I got a lot done on, and some of it not so much. God, that ring light is like kind of, that's annoying. And I keep like doing that too, sorry. Anyway, but yeah, so I have a lot of projects to show. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna show you the Whip of Shame first. So my Whip of Shame for the month of June, if you are new, basically what I did was, real quick before I show you, what I did was I put all of my projects into a basket. I decided to start doing this last month when I had pulled a super old whip, and I decided to try doing 100 stitches a day on it for the entire month to try to get some progress on it, because I've been noticing that my older whips, like my really old ones that I bought a long time ago, were not really I kept kind of putting them to the side and not really wanting to work on them. So last month I decided to start doing a Whip of Shame where I tried putting in 100 stitches a day on it for the month to try to get some progress. So end of last month I had it decided between 2 whips, and when I realized that I could potentially finish one of them if I did this on it, everyone chose this one. And this is an old baby blanket from Sunset. I think the blanket itself might still be available under whatever Sunset is now. I mean, it's a division of Dimensions, but I don't know. Anyway, so this is the blanket. And I think I'm going to insert, I did 4 photos of each kind of like quadrant. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and insert, you're probably seeing them now already. I think I'm gonna insert all 4 of the photos I took before I started stitching on it, because I think that some of this stitching goes into at least 2 of them, if not all 4. So I'm gonna show you where I worked, and then I'll show you kind of the whole thing. Where did I work? First I worked over here in the, when you're looking at it, the bottom left corner. I worked on, you'd think I would have, I'm not even showing you the right side. Jesus, no wonder I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, this is the bottom corner here, the bottom left corner, right? Yeah, bottom left corner. This is a stem stitch going the outline of the cloud, and I filled in, I think that purple star was already done. Hey, Mr. Whiskers. So I have to finish the stem stitch on the outside of the cloud, but I did do this stitching right here, like all, nope, not all. I did this stitching right here, the cloud, and then I started getting that border. I almost got that border met up. I ran out of thread. I still have to do this row of the blue right here and then meet the two right there in the middle. And then I decided to go up to the bear because he's the biggest thing. Mr. Whiskers, you're in the way, baby. Here, you want to say hi? Oh, my belly. Say hi. Hey. Hey, Mr. Whiskers. I know, he doesn't look happy, but he's fine. Hi, baby. Oh, and he's sweet. All right, get down. Move out of the way. So I decided to go up to the bear and work on him. And that's where I got with him. So I finished the satin stitches, and I think I just had like the light brown highlight in one of the eyes and the nose. Pretty sure I had the dark brown, the main part of the eye, done in both eyes, and maybe the nose. I don't remember exactly now, but you'll see it in the photo. But I started going down. I got this arm done with the cross stitching. I started working on this arm over here, and I carried over a little bit to the kind of cloud going out from him. But yeah, so I got a total of 852 stitches on him so far this week. And then let me just show you the whole thing. So I still have, that's what I was showing you that I thought I had done. That's not it. But I still have to do the outline of that cloud, and I have to do that side border there. Gotta finish the bear, of course. When I do the outline of that, and then I have to do the star. But I think I'm going to try to keep working on the bear, because that cross stitching, the bear and the little angel that is laying in his lap, I might try to work on some more of that this week. I may change it. I was trying to maybe save either the phrase, the rest of the phrase in the bottom, or maybe the border on the side. I was thinking about maybe saving those for last, because those are super easy stitching. And I didn't want to be stuck doing the back stitching at the very end and then put it off. So yeah. So that's where I'm at with that guy so far. So we'll keep working on him. I've been doing like 100 stitches a day. Let me put that back over there. I've been doing 100 stitches a day on him. But if I still have thread, if I hit the 100 and I still have thread left over, I'll finish the thread. So I do go over the 100. Not gonna lie, there was a couple nights where I hit 98 stitches and my thread ended, and I was like, I'm not threading an entire needle for 2 stitches because I wanted to like get to my other project. Because I do that before I start doing any other stitching so that I don't put it off. So 852 stitches on that. The next thing I'm going to show you, where can I put this? Why don't I, almost dropped something. Why don't I put this right there? There we go. Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you is Calendar Girls August. This was a new start. Adding to my new start list. Why is this? Oh, it's still attached. I was like, why is there this string hanging? Okay, so, oh, that's June. Calendar Girl, the Little House Needleworks put out this Calendar Girl series one year. I don't know what year. I thought I saw it somewhere, but I couldn't find it. Anyway, I want to do all of them. So this is the one I pulled last Flosstube. This is Calendar Girls August. And like I said, it's from Little House Needleworks. And I got 400 stitches on her. I'm doing this 2/2 on a 32 count Legacy Lugana from Picture This Plus. I'm gonna do all of the calendar girls on this fabric. I went ahead and cut it up. That's why it's so raggedy. Because I don't do anything with the edges. I just do them. But so I have to finish her. Why did I put that back in the bag? So she's done from basically kind of the waist up, and I'm using the called for, it just calls for DMC, and I'm just using whatever DMC it calls for. But I have to, her hands are gonna come in right here, and she's holding a book, and I have to finish her skirt and her feet, and then the border is gonna go along this way. Oh my God, there we go. So I got 400 stitches on her. I actually, so what I had done was the center is like right here. So I counted over and I was doing the arm, and then I ran out of thread, and I was like, well, let me go ahead and like kind of work my way up to the top, and I'll start working my way down, right? So I did that, and I kind of basically got the whole, like I got her hair and the bows, and I got her head done, and I got like the neckline done, right? And then I said, let me bust out this brown, and I started making my way down here, and I realized that because I think I did my thread here, and then my new thread, I went up 2 stitches so I could kind of like just, I don't know. Anyway, the way I had done it, I was literally, I had started all this, I had this part done, and I started this a half of a stitch too high. That's the downside about working on linen and even weave, is that you can think that you're in the right spot, and you are literally half of a stitch off because you went up 3 fabric threads instead of 2. I was not happy, but instead of frogging her head, I said, you know what? I'll frog the first part of the arm that I did, because it's going to fit anyway. The half a stitch is not going to make a difference. So I frogged the arm and restitched it. I was not very pleased about that though. Okay. Next is another new start. This is from Aimee Designs, and this is Sunflower Mandala. I say both depending on how I'm using it in a sentence, I guess. I think I said it both ways last video. But this is Sunflower Mandala. There we go. That's what it's going to look like when it's done. And the only thing that I am missing from this is the kreinik braid number 4 in antique gold. I have to get it. I was gonna say I could replace it with a gold petite treasure braid that I have, but that's kind of, looking at this now, that's kind of darker than the gold that I have, so I'll probably just replace it or order it when I need it, because I can do a lot of this stitching without it. So I'm doing this 2/2 with the called for DMC on a 28 count white Monaco. And this is one of the projects I didn't get a lot of stitching done on it. I only got 200 stitches. I had my kids this week. I share custody with their dad, if you're new. So we do a 50-50 split. We switch every Friday. So every other week I have my kids. That's why my videos alternate on the days that I do my weekly updates, because I only film when I don't have my boys. But you know, since I have my kids, I had to like feed them and cook dinner. So all that to say, I got started on my stitching kind of late in the day, because I also now live farther away from work because I recently moved. But yeah, so anyway, this only got 200 stitches. So the kreinik is gonna go like in the empty squares here. The kreinik goes in there. So that's why it's kind of all skipped around. And then I was using one other yellow to like kind of start the outline of these leaves here. And so when I pull this back out, I'll probably finish that outline and then I'll get to working on filling it in the middle there. So that's where I'm at with that one. Pretty easy stitching. I like it. I'm excited to see how it turns out. And I'm trying to think, I meant to look at the other one I have. I have another mandala pattern from her, that I started, and it's like on a brown fabric and it's pinks and blues, and for the life of me, I cannot remember the name of it. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, next up, oh, my tablet's over there. Oh, my tablet. I need my tablet. Hang on. Okay. I was like, what can I show? I don't need to get my tablet yet, but next 3 projects. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to show you is another project that I didn't really get a whole lot of stitching done on. I was working on this last night. Okay. So last video I was talking about how I'm going to start doing these kind of like tutorials, which it's not like the end all be all. I will preface this with everything that I post, but it's kind of like, this is what I've learned about this stuff, and tutorials about different things of cross stitch, like, you know, stuff for beginners, like how to kit up a project, stuff for medium, like intermediate stitchers who have only ever strictly followed a pattern, like if you have to pick your own floss, how do you do a floss toss? What kind of fabric should you pick out? Someone had wanted to know how to stitch on even weave or linen because they've only ever stitched on Aida, even though they've been a stitcher for like, what'd you say, like 40 years or something like that. So stuff like that. One of the things that somebody wanted to know about was diagonal stitching. I did do a few pieces with diagonal stitching, and then I converted into cross country because that kind of seemed to be more of my jam. My nose itches, sorry. That seemed to be more of my jam. But somebody was wanting to know about diagonal stitching. I was like, well, I know how to do it. I could do a video. And I was like, well, let me start converting a piece, because somebody wanted to know how to start a project on the diagonal. Somebody else wanted to know how to convert a piece to diagonal stitching. I was like, well, let me start converting. So to kind of give my brain a refresh for when I do this, right? And so I was watching a few different, so I started looking up tutorials. I did not realize that tutorials on diagonal stitching are all from like anywhere from, I think Blitz Stitch's first one, which I watched years ago, was like 7 years ago. I think Stitching Mommy did one like 5 years ago. Blitz Stitch did a second one 5 years ago. But all these other ones that were diagonal stitching tutorials were like, you know, at least 2 years ago. And I was like, wow, there's not really like a whole, but there's not even a whole lot of them out there. So I will do one on stitching on the diagonal. I think Thread the Needle has one too. Does she have one? Yes, Thread the Needle has some too. But watching these tutorials, I was like, man, I forgot how much I enjoyed watching the piece come to life, working in diagonals, right? What does that make me want to do? That makes me want to convert all of my full coverages to diagonal, and I park with mine. Not all diagonal stitchers park. I think Thread the Needle works cross country in her diagonal, and she does not park. She just works it and then she ends her thread. Blitz Stitch, he parks with his diagonals. Can't remember, I think Stitching Mommy does too. She's doing one piece on the diagonal, and I think she does with hers too. But I park with my diagonals. So of course, what did I want to do? I wanted to convert all my pieces into diagonal. Well, I had a total, where's my board? I had a total of 1, 2, 3. I had 4 full coverage pieces to work on this week. 3 of them I started converting to diagonal stitching. Oh, and I'm like talking to I'm in like this little chat group with a few of my stitchy friends, and one of them was like, my friend Stuart, he was like, oh my God, Jennifer, look at what you made me do. And he sent me a picture of his piecing. He started parking again. Both of us got off of the parking thing with our threads, and oh, I should probably show you what this piece is. He started parking again because of the pictures I was sending about my converting. sorry, not sorry, Stuart. Anyway, the next thing I'm going to show you, all that to say, the next thing I'm going to show you is a full coverage piece I'm converting to diagonal with parking. This is the Mountain Cabin. It's Max Color from Heaven and Earth Designs. Artwork is by Dominic Davison. And it's 725 by 518. It has 238 colors. This is what it's going to look like when it's done. I am doing an upper left-hand corner start. I am doing 1/1 full cross on a 32 count easy count Lugana. And again, another piece that I didn't get a lot of stitching done, but that is where I'm at with it so far. I only did 200 stitches on it, and I did this last night. But I will say, even though I only got 200 stitches, those 200 stitches make the top of that tree look really, really good. So far I have a total of 1,200 stitches completed out of 375,550, and it is at 0.32% complete. So yeah, I was trying to get the lighting a little bit better, but yeah. So I'm happy with that. And honestly, converting this piece to diagonal with parking kind of saved it for me, because I had done 1,000 stitches on this to start it at the beginning of the year. And as much as I loved it, I was like, I've pulled it probably about I think this was my 4th time pulling it out of my basket, and I wasn't really digging it. Every time I pulled it out, I'm like, I really don't want to work on this. But now that I've converted it to diagonal with parking, I was much happier with it. I feel like I need more light in here. You're gonna have to just bear with me for one moment. Let me open my blinds, because I realized that I did not do that yet. That's a little better. That's a little better. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to show you is my Harry Potter Stitch Your Own Adventure. I pulled both mine and my son's. I'm doing this 3 times. This pattern is no longer available. It was the Stitch Your Own Adventure that Cunning Cross Stitch had put out a couple years ago. And, oh God, what am I trying to say? I'm like tempted to start this video all over, so I can't think of what I'm trying to say. Cunning Cross Stitch put out a Stitch Your Own Adventure a couple years ago that was Harry Potter themed. He took it down when he put out his new one, which is Middle Earth. So like Lord of the Rings themed. So I'm going to link his Facebook group down below if you are into Lord of the Rings and you want to try it out, because the pattern is free. People are posting pictures in the Facebook group of their stitching so far. Every piece is different. When the Harry Potter one was kind of really, was the only one up, people were like posting their finishes, and every piece is completely different because it's literally a Stitch Your Own Adventure. So I'm doing 3. I'm doing 1 for myself, and then I'm doing 1 for each of my kids, and all 3 of them are going to be completely different. The only mock-up I can really show you is the very first release, which is what everybody's will look like unless you make changes to this, which I'm going to. I know on mine at least, which once the kids see mine, they'll probably want it too. I have a pattern for the howler, which is the red angry letter that like has teeth and stuff. I'm going to put it in the middle right there where the white one is. I'm probably gonna do the howler first, and then I will do the rest of the letters. I do have a pattern for an alternate castle that I can put up here, and then I have a few patterns for I think like I have one of like Hedwig delivering a letter. There's a pattern for a whopping willow, and all these things I was getting from the files section of the Facebook group of people that had like done their whatever. So what I'm going to show you, what I can show you, I'll insert screenshots of Lachlan's house flag. So I pulled Lachlan's, that's my younger son, and I decided to start working on his house flag. Where is it? Here it is. So, and I'm just doing his, all three of ours on like a 16 count aida. And so I decided to go ahead and start on chapter 1 for Lachlan. So he is going to be in the Slytherin house because he wants to. And so I started on his flag right there. And I got 600 stitches on this. And this is going to be like a little crest that's going to have an H for Hogwarts, and it's going to have all four, like this is, that's green, that's blue, and there's going to be yellow and red, and there's going to be an H in the middle of it. But that is Lachlan's so far. His had the least amount of progress. So when I pulled it, I really wanted to work on his. And I showed him what I had done, and he was like all kinds of excited. So I got 600 stitches on his, and then mine, I got another 600 stitches, but I worked on a different part on mine. I worked on chapter 2, which is the Quidditch match. So for the house flag, like you were supposed to kind of pick, I don't remember what the thing was. We were supposed to take a quiz online to place you in a house, and that's the house that you were supposed to be in. But for us, when we did the quizzes, the boys both ended up in Hufflepuff, which neither one of them were happy about, and then I ended up in Ravenclaw, which makes no difference to me. I play the Harry Potter game, stitching game on Facebook, and I'm in Slytherin. So I kind of have like, I kind of want to do both, because I've been playing the Harry Potter stitching game for what, 2 years now, I think. So it feels kind of weird for me to, like, I feel like I'm in both houses in a way. So anyway, my younger son wanted to be in Slytherin, and my older son wanted to be in Gryffindor. And I figured since Harry Potter could pick his house, in a way, my boys can pick theirs. And when I do my house flag, I'm going to do half Slytherin, half Ravenclaw. But anyway, that's not where so for chapter 2, which is the Quidditch game, you know, it's like this letter that you're writing to your parents because you're the student at Hogwarts, right? And to pick your position being the Quidditch player, you had to pick an element: earth, air, fire, or water. And I picked water, I believe, and it made me a chaser. So what you will have seen for this screenshot is the mock-up of the chaser thing. And I got 600 stitches on mine, and I got one of the towers done, and the broom is not quite done, but I got like this part of the broom is done, and I have to finish the broomstick, and then the broom will be done, and then I have to do like the rest of the, like the other tower and the thing right here. So making progress. It was really nice to work on something besides the parchment borders. That was super nice, but I'm liking it so far. like I said, mine is also a 16 count Aida. I kind of soaked mine in some coffee way back in the day, and I like how it turned out, but I don't know if I would want to do it again. Like, I did not make it like a traditional dyeing thing. I just kind of basically soaked it in coffee, threw it in the oven, and rinsed it, and you know, all that. And I like how it turned out, but it's not something I would do on a regular basis. I'll just pay someone else to do it for me. I didn't want to do it with theirs. So anyway, so that was those two. And next up is another piece from Heaven and Earth Designs. This was another full coverage piece that I started converting to diagonal with parking. This was actually the first one I started converting to diagonal with parking. This is Birdhouse Gardens, and it's regular size, regular color. Artwork is by Ciro Marchetti, I don't know. 600 by 420. It has 90 colors. That is what it's going to look like when it's done. There we go. I was trying to get it without the ring light. That's what it's going to look like when it's done. I did an upper left-hand corner start. This is stitch 2 over, well, it's on Aida, so it's going to be over 1. But 2 threads on a 20 count. Jesus. 2 threads full cross on a 20 count, easy count Aida. You would think I've never done this before. And this is where I'm at with it. I did 600 stitches on it, and I have a total of 5,650. God, why is it so dark? That light's supposed to make it brighter. 5,650 stitches completed out of 252,000, and I am at 2.24%. But yeah, like, I'm really digging how it's like coming along with the diagonal, so I have to finish this diagonal here. But I think when I do, I think if I can pull a full coverage piece this week, I will try to do a video on how to convert to diagonals with that full coverage. And if I pull a new start, I don't know if I have any new starts that are full coverage in this like round. We'll get there though. Okay, next up is a new start. Don't need my tablet for. Next up is new start, and this was a kit that I got from one of my subscribers, and it is from It's So Emma, and it is Hello Summer. That is what it's going to look like when it's done. And I'm using whatever came in the kit. Just came with, it calls for DMC, and it came with all the DMC and a 14 count navy Aida. And I got 500 stitches on it. And that is where I'm at with it so far. One of my friends, Alara, pointed out to me that it looks like I stitched a weenus. Then I realized that it looks like I stitched the other part that goes with the weenus. So I'm like, that's great. That's all I can see now. So next time I pull this out, I'm gonna have to work on getting those things taken care of so they do not look like genitalia anymore. But yeah, so I got 500 stitches on it. I was hoping that I could get this to be a finish by the end of the summer. I did say that this would be, I was going to work on everything 2 times, and once it got worked on twice, it was going to go away. I'm going to see, because this technically counts as time number 1. I don't know, because of how much stitching is left, if I'm going to be able to, I don't think I'm going to be able to get this done, because I wanted to try to at least get all of the popsicles started, but I'm still missing the one that goes over here. And there's actually a lot of stitching that has to be done in them, which I think I had said before. I'm like, oh yeah, I think I can get this done. And then when I pulled it out, I was like, that's a lot more stitching than I think it's going to be. So I was hoping it was going to be finished, but I don't think it's going to be. So next up is another new start. It's the week of the new starts, right? This is from the Stitching Bear, and it is called Chocolate Understands. And it says, chocolate doesn't ask silly questions, chocolate understands. I ended up ordering the beads and the buttons and the watercolors by Caron that was required. I went ahead and just ordered all of it. I was gonna wait to get the beads and the buttons. The beads go over here in the cake. I was gonna wait to get that stuff because I didn't need it right that second, but I needed the fancy floss because that is literally what the phrase is stitched in, is the fancy floss. And I kind of liked how it was like looking, so I went ahead and ordered it. Now, on that note, have any of you stitched with watercolors by Caron? I have other stuff from them, like not the watercolors. I have, what do I have? I have other fancy flosses that are somewhere. And I want to say it's the same company. I could be wrong. If it's, yeah, no. I have Water Lilies by Caron. And I have 4 different ones because they're all for, where's the 4th one? I have 4 different ones because they are all for my village, seasonal village pieces from Stony Creek. So I have these, right? They're very pretty. I'm actually excited to use them. But these are all Water Lilies by Caron, right? Well, I needed a watercolors by Caron. And so I went on 1-2-3 Stitch and ordered it. And I got it. I needed it in black cherry. And when it arrived, I was kind of looking at it a little weird because I was like, this is like a different type of floss than I was used to. This looks like yarn. Oh, you can't tell. It looks like, you can kind of tell. Looks like yarn, right? Like that's like 1 ply of it. And I thought maybe, because you know how you see on like the Facebook pages and stuff that people are like, oh, I ordered this white floss from DMC and it looks a lot thicker and it doesn't divide up like the other colors do. Turns out that they ordered pearl cotton, right? So I thought maybe I did a pearl cotton order. Like maybe I did that. Maybe I did a pearl cotton flub and I accidentally ordered the wrong thing. But when I went back on 1-2-3 Stitch and I just searched generally for watercolors, like that's everything. Like it was all listed as 3 ply. I didn't pay attention at that part. I just searched for watercolors by Caron, black cherry, pulled it up, ordered it, and it was on its way. So I went back on 1-2-3 Stitch. I did another search for it, and this is the only type of floss that was popping up for all the colors, was this 3 ply yarn bullshit. And then when I looked on the pattern, it said that it was just like 1 strand of the watercolors, and I was like, all right, I guess this is the right stuff. And when I messaged Lara and I was like, hey, have you ever stitched with this kind of thread? Like, is it me? Or she's like, yeah, no, it's a little weird. I was like, all right. So I pulled 1 strand. I was stitching with it. And she's right. It is weird. Will I finish this piece with it? Yes, I will. Will I ever order this stuff again? I don't know. I don't know if I like it. It's very strange. But anyway, I started it, and I'm doing this on a 32 count Lavendar Lugana by Zweigart, and I'm doing it over 2, and I started in the middle, and I got 330 stitches on it. So, and it's kind of, it's thick, very thick. It's like raised, it's like braille. Like, it's very strange. And this picture is not doing it justice. I may try to insert a photo like once I'm done, because this light, I mean, it's lighting it up, but it is not showing, it's not really showing the color change in the thread as much as I would like it to, because it's kind of like, it ranges from like a purple to like a brown color, and all it's doing is showing brown and like gray fabric. And it's a lavender color. Like, it looks good. You just can't tell on here because cameras suck with showing true colors of floss and fabric. That's more of the color of the fabric right there. Yeah, right there. That's more of the color of the fabric, but it's hard to tell the color of the stitches. So I may have to insert a photo. Yeah, I might have to do that so you can really see the color of the thread. It looks good. I don't know if I will ever stitch with this thread again once this project is done. I really don't know, because it is very strange. I don't really know if I like it. It feels weird. It's hard to thread the needle. Although I did get these collapsible but they're very thin. I really got them for beading. So, but these collapsible eye needles, I could easily thread with those, but I don't think that would be good to, I think I would probably end up breaking the needles if I tried to stitch with these, anything other than beads. I don't know. Anyway, I feel like I'm just like talking a bunch of nonsense right now. I probably should have waited until I had fresh brain instead of brain that worked all day on a Friday and had to listen to 21 voicemails at work and answer all of them. Anyway, okay, I got 2 projects left, which are my focus pieces that are not my whip of the month, whip of shame. Okay, first one I'm going to show you is from Heaven and Earth Designs. This was the stitch along that they started at the beginning of the year. The stitch along is now closed. You can no longer join it. We had 10 projects to pick from. So I picked Merry Mushroom Village Picnic 2, a crop of Merry Mushroom Village Picnic from Aimee Stewart. And this is what mine will look like when it's done. It is 300 by 205, so it's 61,500 stitches. 2 parts have been released. Part 3 is going to be released, is going to be sent out at the beginning of July. And so I have been working on parts 1 and 2. I'm still sort of behind, in that I had mathed. If I can finish 4 pages by the end of the year, then if you, not me personally, but, well, yes, but everybody that's participating in the SAL, if you finish 4 pages by the end of the year, then you get all of the patterns that were made available to pick from. So you get all those patterns if you finish 4 pages, 4 complete pages, not partials. If you finish the entire piece by the end of the year, then you get all those plus 2 patterns of your choice off of the Heaven and Earth website. And I'm always down for free stuff, because that's essentially like, you know, I paid $10 for this, but if I have a chance to get 11 more charts for the same price that I paid for, like, why not? So I mathed it out, and if I do 1,200 stitches a week, then I would have this done by the end of the year. And there was a couple weeks I didn't stitch, so I fell behind because I moved. But I didn't fall behind that far because I was working on trying to get caught back up again. And I had calculated, like, I took the remaining stitches left in the entire piece and divided it by how many weeks were left in the year. And I was at like, if I did like 1,258 stitches a week, then I would get caught up. I was like, all right, I'm not that far behind. So anyway, and to make my life easier, I'm also doing it 10th stitch, like half cross, to basically make my life easier, because if I had to do 1,200 stitches full cross a week, I would have put this down a long time ago, because I would have never stayed caught up. All right, so this is where I'm at with this so far. I am, Jesus. I'm seriously tempted to restart. I probably won't though. 28 count, easy count Lugana, 2/1 10th stitch. So this is where I'm at so far with parts 1 and 2. And I worked some up here. I finished the stitching around this little star right here. And then I was like, well, let me come up here and I'll just start picking the topmost, you know, thread or symbol, and I'll just kind of work those threads in. Then I decided to come over here to the right-hand side and start filling in block by block. You know, I was picking a symbol in that block and I was just like working the thread, and then I picked the next symbol, I worked that thread. So I started working over there and I got a lot. So that's where a lot of my stitches went, was over here in this upper right-hand corner, and working my way down, that like this stuff here. So far, I have completed 25,137 stitches, and I have a percentage for parts 1 and 2. I don't know, I'm not doing the math to figure out overall how far along I am, but for parts 1 and 2, I am at 56.72% complete. That will drop once part 3 is released. Hopefully it won't drop by too much, because I still have 3 weeks. I think it's 3 weeks before I get the next part. So hopefully it won't drop too much. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that if I can get back on track, because I did 1,200 stitches, so if I can kind of get back on track and do at least 1,200 a week until part 3 is released, I'm hoping I can get it to where I will be over 50% complete once part 3 is released. Like even when I get part 3 combined with these, that it'll still stay over 50%. But I'm at 56.72% right now. Okay. Last piece is my other focus piece, which I'm doing a challenge with Alara. She is working on Dragons of the Sabbat. We wanted to get 25,000 stitches in on our pieces that we picked. I picked Honeymoon Sunset from the Cross Stitch Studio. Artwork is by Abraham Hunter. This is 869 by 649. It has 133 colors, and this is what it's going to look like when it's done. I started the year at 30%. I don't remember how many stitches that was. Our goal was to do 25,000 stitches in 25 weeks, so it was like 1,000 stitches a week. But life happened and we both had to slow down with it, so we fell behind. So because the challenge should have been completed this month, and it's not going to be, but that's okay. That's okay. So this is the other piece that I started converting to diagonal with parking. Let me show you where I worked. So I moved over to the upper right-hand corner, and I'm doing this 25 count 2/1 10th stitch. Wait, hold on. Let me say it so it makes sense in my head. I'm doing this on a 25 count easy count Lugana 2/1 10th stitch. There we go. I only put in 800 stitches on it. That's where I'm at with that corner. I'll show the whole piece in a little bit, but that's where I'm at with that. So I've been trying to convert this into parking or diagonals, and it's been a little difficult because my stitching is so like sporadic and all over the place, which if you haven't seen this yet, you will see in a little bit. But yeah, that's it's been an adventure. So when I pull this out again, I think I'm gonna try to stick to the diagonal with parking, but I think what I might do, because it was hard to tell where I was at with the diagonals because this stitching kind of went out this way and I was trying to see which diagonal I was on. So I think what I might do when I pull this out again is go down to the bottom of the diagonals and work my way up instead of working my way down. Which will be, I was trying to see where it was going to start, which is going to be right about down here. I'll start here and I'll just kind of work my way up this way to make sure that I'm not, because I didn't want to come up here. I was having a hard time because I was trying to come up here and pick a diagonal, but then I was going to end up like if I started right here with a diagonal, I was going to end up with all these other stitches over here that had to be done. So I think I'm going to come down here and work my way up, filling everything in. Okay. I usually, if you notice, I went to the right for the diagonal. And I will tell you why in a few minutes, but I know a lot of you guys like seeing this whole thing. So here you go. This is where I'm at so far with it. Jesus. There we go. That's where I'm at with it so far. I covered up my tablet. So I was going to tell you where I was at, but I covered up my tablet with my board. But yeah, so that's that. And I'm going to get a little closer because I want to tell you about why. Ooh, I'm going to get a little closer. So I am at, I'm going to show it again so I can read off my stats while you're looking at this, because I like looking at it. Let me make sure you can see the whole thing. There we go. Okay. I am at 187,899. What, I couldn't do one more to make it a more even number? Anyway. Out. Okay, let me start over. 187,899 stitches done out of 563,981. I am at 33.32%. Okay. Now, I've always talked about how I'm a upper left-hand corner start person, right? When I started this project in 2019, I was doing diagonal with parking, upper left-hand corner start. Now, when I do my cross stitches, I do bottom left to top right, and then bottom right to top left. So my bottom leg goes left to right, my top leg goes right to left. When I do my tent stitches, when I'm doing projects in like the half cross, I just do my bottom leg because out of habit, that is how I'm used to stitching. And frankly, if the whole piece is tent stitch, it's not a true tent. Like it's not basket weave, it's not continental. I just do half stitches. It's just easier to say tent stitch. Let me just preface that. But it's easier to just do it that way. And if the whole thing is in that style of a stitch, it doesn't really matter what direction it goes in, right? Like I saw somebody that was trying to do the tent stitch and they were having a hard time because they were having to remember to make it the same direction as their top leg. Well, just make it the same direction as your bottom leg. If it's all the same stitch, it doesn't matter what direction the stitch is in. So I was doing my bottom leg, which was left to right. And I was working from left to right on the pattern. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but I wanted to show you my top left corner, which is the tree from hell. Because I was noticing, are you going to be able to see it? I can feel it for sure that I was getting lines. It's actually becoming less noticeable, which is good, but I can feel it. But you can't really see it anymore, which is actually makes me very happy. But I was starting to get some lines, and so I stopped doing the diagonal and I just realized how close I was. I stopped doing the diagonal and I started doing I was doing all kinds of stuff. And even over here, this poor project has seen so many different stitching styles. It's ridiculous. over here, I worked my way across the top, and over here I started doing block by block in the diagonal. And you started seeing lines, which, great news for me, I think, because this project is so damn old, the lines are starting to go away. How is it in the middle where I was doing 10 by 20 blocks and parking down? How is that one looking? Oh, that one's still a bit visible, but not as bad. Maybe because this project is so damn old and has seen many things. That one's a little bit more visible, but you can see where, you know, the lines where the parking was and everything. So that's why I had given up on the parking, because you have to like kind of have like kind of a set way of how you're stitching while you're parking, or else it does become a big jumbled mess. And then I had a thought. When I was watching the diagonals, because I was like, well, if it's a 10, so in my mind, I was like, well, if it's a tent stitch project, I'm not going to do diagonals with parking, because even when I was doing diagonals with my tent stitch projects, I was noticing some lines. So I was thinking, when I film my diagonal videos, I would personally suggest that if you do full cross, that's fine. But if you do tent stitch, you may want to think about something other than diagonals with parking, because of the potential of the lines, even with the diagonals, because of the way that the thread pulls. It's not, because when you do tent stitch, it's more of like a, you know, it does kind of like, if you're not careful, which is why some people will do basket weave or continental stitch with their tent stitches, you can almost get like this pulling sensation, because it's the thread's only really kind of going in like one direction per se. And then I was watching the Stitch With Me. I think that Stitching Mommy had put out about her stitching on the diagonal, and she normally does what I do. She normally starts in the upper left-hand corner, but this one piece that she's doing on the diagonal, she started in the upper right-hand corner, because she starts her stitches the way I do, which is in the bottom left corner. So she said she did not want to bring her needle. It's this whole method of how Blitz Stitch stitches, where he says he does not bring his needle up in a hole that has stitches in it. He wants to bring his thread up in an empty hole because it makes his stitches look neater. And he explains the process, right? And so she mentioned that she wanted to try it with that piece to see how her stuff looked. And then it got me thinking, well, about the direction of my tent stitches and the way that I start my project. So I was like, well, if I do that, I should probably start in the upper right-hand corner as well, because I start in the left-hand side of the stitch. It's like, so if I want to do that whole, like, bring it up in an empty hole thing, I should probably do right-hand sided starts instead of left. I always think start on the left because you read left to right, and it just seems more natural to me. So I thought, I wonder if it makes a difference stitching on the diagonal based on what direction your stitching goes. So I decided to do yet another experiment with this poor piece, and I decided to try the diagonal stitching again with this, but coming from the right side. So this is going to be an ongoing experiment to see if I start getting lines, then I'm going to know I probably should not do this with tent stitches. But stitching, I'm going to see if it makes a difference stitching on the diagonal coming from the opposite direction of where your bottom leg starts, because my tension has not changed. The only thing that's really changed is the fact that I stitch in hand now as opposed to stitching in a Q-snap, which is what I was doing before. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this, I'll be able to tell really once I start getting a few more of them. Like once I start kind of putting these bottom diagonals in, I'll be able to tell more if I'm gonna get lines. If I get lines, I'll definitely let you guys know. But yeah, I think that'll be interesting for me to evaluate. so that was a lot of talking, and I feel like I didn't really say a whole lot, and I don't know if that made any sense. Okay, so let's take a look at this real quick. All right, I got this. So my little board here, this is what I'm kind of doing. Oh, that's what I should have done with my other board. Does that make a difference? Angle it forward like it's going. So got that. Oh, well, hell, I should have just done that from the beginning. Okay, anyway. So Cuddly Bear Quilt, I already updated this to have my current stitches for the week on there because I just started this at the beginning of the year. And then, where'd it go? I had a paper that, here we go. We're going to update the amounts left for my 2 focus pieces. I already subtracted the stitches that I did. If I can figure my life out. There we go. So Honeymoon Sunset went from 7,168 stitches left for my challenge, and it has decreased down to 6,368. That's some messy handwriting, but that's okay. And then the Hate SAL went from 37,563 down to 36,363. 36,363. And then my milestones. I'm just kind of like, if I work on a piece, I'm counting it as a milestone. So it was 138 milestones done for the year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Plus 11. 138 plus 11. 149. So there's that. Hi, Gracie Lou. You want to come say hi? You do. Oh, come here, my girls. Come back. Don't leave me. Come back. Oh, stop with the crying. Everyone's going to think you're hurt. Say hi, Gracie. Here's my other one. Hi, Gracie. She's so vocal. She sounds like you pick her up and she's like she's hurt, and she's not. She's just a talker. Right now I got cat hair on me. Okay. Blue's Clues marker. We're going to update my board. So I have a new board. I made a new one. I don't remember if I showed it in my last video, but I made a new board that has my current picks for this months of the summer. So it has decreased from 4 boards that had all 324 projects on it down to 1 board that currently has 62 projects on it. So this will be more fun because once I work on something twice, we're going to cross through it like I did, what was it, last year? Where I was like crossing through stuff as we did it, and it looked like a government paper that was released to the public. So this will be fun. Okay, so we're gonna color in our first sets of squares, which are, I don't know. And also, when I cross through these, you know what I didn't do, which is what I said I was going to do and I did not do? I was going to mark which ones were seasonal and which ones were the random pieces, and I didn't do that. Because if it's not, if I work through something twice and it's seasonal, I'm not going to replace it. If I work through something and it's a non-seasonal piece, because I have like 40-something projects that I considered seasonal or pieces I wanted to keep out for the year, like my stitch-alongs. And then I picked random projects to total, I thought it was 60, but apparently I can't count, and it ended up being 62. So if it's a non-seasonal piece, then I will replace it with another non-seasonal piece once it gets worked on twice. So this hopefully will get added to it as the next couple, what I'm hoping is I'll be able to add something more by the end of the month, depending on how it picks stuff. So anyway, let's update this board, shall we? Oh my God, this is like This is a mess. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna fill in is Birdhouse Gardens. There we go. And then Calendar Girls August, right here. Now, what I will say is, I think for these Calendar Girls pieces, when I work on it the second time, if I think that I can get a finish on it, because I want to say that they're really only like 1,500 stitches, so I'm trying to make this more manageable for myself. I want to say that those pieces are only maybe, I think they're less than 2,000 stitches. So if I work on it a second time, and I think I can finish it if I work on it a third time, I will add another square on, because if I can finish it, why not, right? So this is going to be work on it twice, unless I think I can finish it if I work on it like a third time, and then it's going to stay out one more time and we'll add another square on. Okay, Calendar Girls August, what's next? Chocolate Understands. This might be another piece that when I work on it a second time, I might try to keep it out. I'll see how much I get done the second time it gets pulled. Because to be perfectly frank, if I was not doing this whip of shame, I would have gotten a lot more stitching done on these pieces. Cuddly Bear Quilt, that's not on this list because that's my whip of shame. Harry Potter Lachlan. Harry Potter is down here. Harry Potter Stitch Your Own Adventure Lachlan. And then Harry Potter Stitch Your Own Adventure Mine. And then Hello Summer. I was thinking I might be able to get that piece done, but there's a lot more stitching on that than I thought there was, so I'm not really too sure about that one. Honeymoon Sunset. Oh, you know what? Honeymoon Sunset and the Merry Mushroom SAL are not on this board because they were on my other board. I don't have my... I do have that board, but it's way over there in the corner. And it's like so out of date now. The one that I had, those two, plus my finishes. I'll figure that out later. We might just do some updating on the thing overall once I figure math out. Okay. I'm going to show them. Mountain Cabin is up here. I know I only did 200 stitches, but it's still counting. And Sunflower Mandala. Sunflower. Right here. There we go. Okay. I'm liking this a lot better than having like four separate ones. Okay. All right, next up, we are going to pull the pieces that I'm going to work on for the next week. Let me move this tablet out of my way. Okay. So I'm going to pull 10 pieces. So I'll have 13 total to work on for the next week. So how I worked on so many things this past week, I'm not 100% certain. I mean, I know Saturday and Sunday, I think I worked on 2 different pieces each day. Maybe that's how I'll get through some of this stuff. All right, first up is, actually, hang on one second. Okay, so first up. So we're gonna pick 10 pieces. First up, oh guys, hedgehog. I've had a few comments on this piece because it's like, everyone's like, oh, do you think you'll be able to finish it? I feel like, again, this is one of those pieces where there's actually more stitching than what it looks like. But this was a free a piece that I had gotten at the stitching retreat I went to last year, and it's called Cute Chart. It's from Margaret Sherry. I don't know where it came out of the World of Cross Stitching magazine. I don't know what issue though. I have no idea because it literally was just this on a table. but that's what it's going to look like when it's done. And I'm just doing this on a piece of 14 count white Aida from that, I don't know, that I just had in a bucket. And this is my starting point on it. So this will be my first time working on it for the summer, but I still have, so you see that, right? I have his face back stitched, but I still have to fill in his little fur spike things. And then I have to finish the present. I have to back stitch it. That part doesn't seem like to be too bad though. And then I have to do the top of the hat and the tag and finish back stitching. So I feel like there's more stitching than what all of us are realizing, but we'll see how far I get. We'll see how far I get. Yeah. Okay. Because if that's one that looks like I can get it done in 3 sessions, I'll add another box to that one. I think that I might be able to get that one done this summer. Okay, next up is Let's Talk Summer. This is from Hands-On Design. This is a whip. I'm doing this on, oh wait, let me show you what it looks like. That's what it's gonna look like when it's done. I'm doing this on a 16 count black Aida, and this is my starting point. I just started this year. This was one of the many pieces, I have a hair somewhere. Oh. This was one of the many pieces, 134 pieces I said I wanted to finish. This will not be a finish, I can tell you that much. That's okay though. That's okay. But yeah, that's my starting point for that one. Okay. Number 3. Is, oh, Freedom. I thought that said Frederick, and I was like, I know I do not have that piece in here. I just worked on that all of May. Freedom is going to be a new start. It is a kit from Design Works, and this is what it's going to look like when it's done. And I'm just going to do whatever comes in the kit. I think it's like a 14 count white Aida. Yeah. White? Yeah. So I'm just going to use whatever came in the kit. And I will probably, honestly, because this is angled, I think I'm going to do a center. Because it's angled like that, I think I might do a center start. So I don't have to deal with, I started it too low or too high. Number 4 is the sewing desk. This is a whip from Heaven and Earth Designs. This is another full coverage piece. I need to show you what it looks like. Artwork is by Aimee Stewart. It is regular size, regular color, and it is 525 by 375. It has 87 colors. That is what it's going to look like when it's done. I, for some reason, did a center start on this. I don't know why I did that. I really don't. Because it's on gridded fabric. I could have very easily counted the squares to figure out my corner, which is what I did on all my other pieces. I think I wanted to do a center start just to get to the fun stuff right away. That had to be it. I don't know what I was thinking. because I really like starting full coverages, especially if they're on gridded fabric. I like starting them in the corner. But anyway, that's my starting point, and I am currently, I'll just tell you the percentage I'm at with it. I'm currently at 4.51%. So here's a fun thought. I wonder if I should try, not necessarily color completing. Ooh, that's all really far away though. I was gonna say maybe color completing with like the highest number first, or at least getting it down farther, like so it kind of like how I do some of my stuff, because 606 is the highest color, but I just zoomed out so you can't see the pattern, and look where all the green is. That's like where the stitching goes. That's kind of far. I don't know if I want to do that. What's the next highest color? 3863. I might be able to work on that one, the second highest color, because I could do, man, I could do that. Maybe. I don't know. I might even change my mind and just be like, screw it. I'll just keep working on filling in stuff. I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's gonna be a surprise for all of us. Maybe I'll work my way up to the top. Work my way up to the top and then work down that way. I don't know. Don't know yet. But anyway. Okay, so that was number 4. Yeah. Okay, number 5. Need to get a lawnmower. My responsibility in this house is the lawn. Like as the renter, like, you know, that's part of the agreement with the property management company, is like the tenant takes care of the lawn. I was looking at my backyard and I needed a lawnmower. Mini Sunset Lighthouse. This is another full coverage piece. This is from Heaven and Earth Designs. And it is somewhere. Is this it? Yeah. So this is artwork is by Dominic Davison. It is a mini. It is 325 by 232. It has 88 colors. I'm doing it on a 14 count Aida. And I bought this pattern. I will talk more about this next week if I am able to actually work on this. But I bought this pattern as a mini before I realized that I didn't know, because I wasn't as experienced with this stuff when I bought this pattern a few years ago, like 2018, 2019, sometime around there, I think. And I did not realize that with minis you lose as much detail as you do. If I'd known that, I don't think I would have bought it as a mini. But this is my starting point. I'm going to finish it just so that it can be one of those pieces where I say, this is an example of why some patterns should not be made miniature. I mean, it doesn't look miniature because I'm doing it on a 14 count Aida, because I had the fabric and it fit the pattern. So that's why I'm doing it on 14 count Aida. And that's why it's so big. But I'm currently at 15% exactly. So I started this piece on the diagonal and I may convert it back into a diagonal again. So this might be the one piece, this might be the piece, especially because it's 14 count, so it's easy to see. This might be the piece that I kind of do the video on how to convert something from like something like this into a diagonal piece. Anyway. But yeah, my personal opinion, certain patterns, certain like pieces should not be made smaller just because somebody asks for it to be smaller. You should be able to say, no, it's not going to do that artwork justice. I will not make it smaller. 3, 4, 5. Okay, number 6. But, you know, whatever. Okay. Oh, I pulled Mountain Cabin again. So that was the piece that I showed you that I only got 200 stitches on that I started converting to a diagonal. This piece here. So we'll see how far I can get on that one. I'm actually enjoying that one now. So hopefully I'll be able to get a lot more stitching done on it. Because if I actually work on it, that's going to be it unless I pull it for the next like batch of stitches. It'll be done for the summer. Okay, next up is Garden Bouquet. This will be a new start. If I can find it. Oh, here it is. This will be a new start. It is from Dimensions, and this is what it's going to look like when it's done. Somebody was asking if I could do a tutorial on how to tackle a Dimensions kit. Maybe I'll use this piece because I thought about doing it with Cherry Blossom Creek a few weeks ago, but I wanted to get stitching and I had my kids that week and blah, 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 blah. Maybe I'll do that. I do have videos I need to make this weekend with these tutorials, and I was hoping I was going to be able to pull pieces that I could do the tutorials with. So maybe that'll be one of them. What am I doing? I don't want my tablet, I need my basket. Okay, but yeah, Garden Bouquet is gonna be a new start. All right. Next up is Amazonia. This will be a new start. I gotta double check the, I think I added an N on it. Maybe I corrected it, I don't know. But I'm gonna do a new start on 20, is this 25 count? Sure shit is. Okay. Here's another tutorial that I can do. This is going to be a new start from the Cross Stitch Studio. Let me find it. I'm looking for it. Oh, I wasn't calling for you. No, I wasn't calling for you. Here it is. So artwork is by Romance Art, and it's 400 by 490. It has 107 colors, and that is what it's going to look like when it's done. And I think that I might try to do another video on doing this on the diagonal from the start. Because I think since it's on 25 count, I think I'm going to do it 2 over 1/10 stitch. Since it's on 25 count. So I will probably start this in the upper right hand corner and do diagonal with parking. And I can do a video on that. I got a lot of videos to film, don't I? They're not all going to be put out this week, I can tell you that. But I can at least try to get a lot of the filming done. Maybe try to film as many of them as I can and then, like, you know, pull them back out to work on them again later in the week or something. I don't know. How many was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I think this is number 9. Colorful Cow. This is a kit from Artiste. And this is what it's gonna look like when it's done. And it just looks like weird blobs of color right now because I've only put in 1,000 stitches on it so far this year. This was a new start this year. And I'm just using whatever came in the kit. But this is all I've, oh shit, how does it go? It goes like this. So it looks like absolutely nothing. It just looks like someone took some markers and just started coloring on paper. It's hard to tell what it is right now. You won't really be able to tell much until I get more of it stitched. So we'll see how much I can get done on that. I think with these videos that I wanted to make, since I'm actually pulling projects that I can make these videos, I think some of these others might take a back seat because, yeah. But we'll tell. Let me pull. Is that 9? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, last one. I hope it's a good one. I say that every time. I hope it's a good one. And it is a good one. Mother Nature Summer. Yes. This is out of the Just Cross Stitch magazine 2023. This was a series that they put out. This was in the June 2023 issue. And they put out a series of Mother Nature pieces. So they had one for each season, and then they put out a Halloween and a Christmas one. This is what summer is going to look like, and this is a whip. I am putting all of them, I'm doing all of them on a 28 count. I think I've started just about all of them now. But I'm doing this on a 28 count tea-dyed Monaco 2/2 with the call for DMC. And I've done 500 stitches on her so far. And that's my starting point. Oh, I'm excited because I love these Mother Nature pieces. Okay, so with the pieces that I've pulled out, I can do tutorials on how to kind of tackle a dimensions kit, what I do with the dimensions kit. Everyone does different stuff, which I can go over that. How to convert a piece into diagonal stitching, and how to start a piece on the diagonal. And then there's probably a few others that I will kind of like do. That I'm gonna see what I can get to this weekend, or even this week, like later in the week after I get home from work or something. We'll see. I don't know how many of them are going to be released this week, or if depending on how many I do, maybe if I can get a few of them done, maybe I can release 1 or 2 this week and then 1 or 2 next week. One thing I am going to do, if you're still watching, one thing I am going to do is I'm going to link a video from my friend Kelly at Kel's Stitches. She did a video, how long ago was it? Like a year or 2 ago, I think, last year, on fabric dyeing. She showed how she dyes fabric, because her fabrics come out, she dyes her own fabric, and her stuff comes out really, really pretty. So she showed how she dyes fabric, and of course the fabric that she decides to show how to dye turns, she's dyeing it red, and it makes her bathroom look like something out of a horror film. Like it looks like there's like fucking blood everywhere. It's hilarious. Like I was laughing. I was cracking up. I think she even made a comment about it. But I'm gonna link her video in my playlist. Hopefully I can. I should be able to, but I'm going to pull her video into my playlist because as much as I love hand-dyed fabric, I'm not really about that life at this stage in my life. I don't really want to dye my own fabric, so, but I know people will probably have questions on it, so I'm going to link her video into my playlist, which I've already started with my parking tutorial that I did last year. I think it was last year I did my parking tutorial. No, the year before, 2 years ago, I did a parking tutorial that frankly was like really good. I can't even, like, I'm not even like, oh, I think it was okay. No, it was a really good tutorial. So I put that into a playlist that I started, and I will put her video in that playlist as well. And if you're not already subscribed to her, then you really should be, because she's really funny, and her son will make cameos, and he's funny, and I like her projects. And yeah, and she's my friend, so go subscribe to her if you're not already subscribed. But yeah, I'll probably like post at least one video, maybe 2, maybe 3. It depends on how many I can do and how many I need to, I can mark off of my list, because there's a few different things that I can do videos on. I don't want to make these tutorials an hour long. I really don't. I don't, like, I want someone to be able to watch something, get the information they need, and be done. So I might be able to knock a few videos off of the list, and if I can, I'm going to kind of like upload them and then just schedule them to air at, you know, certain points over the next like couple weeks or so. So if you have any questions, what do I say? If you liked what you had to see, wow. If you liked what you had to see and you're not already subscribed, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below and the bell to be notified whenever I post a new video. I'm anticipating posting quite a few videos this month between my regular floss tubes and also my tutorials. And hell, if I have time, maybe I'll even do 1 or 2 stitch with me's. Who knows? I might even tie in a couple stitch with me's with the stitching, like the diagonal ones. I might even do a stitch with me and kind of loop it into a diagonal tutorial kind of thing. I don't know. Anyway, if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments section down below. And if you like what you had to see, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And if you didn't like what you had to see and you're still watching, thanks for the pennies from watching my video. I don't know. Anyway, take care. Happy stitching. Get a lot of stitches in, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.